rolling today. How many coffees did you have? Is those all of yours from today? And the red?
No, but that is a fair count for how many I've had today.
Three.
Yeah. It's quite a bit, yeah. So I was like,
yeah, I
we
can
have
tell
another.
instantly right there.
Yeah, I was like, we have another one at 7 p.m. tonight. I am just so screwed. I'm not gonna sleep tonight. And like honestly, I had two this morning because I thought we were gonna do it this morning, the podcast.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
when you called me and you were on the way, that was like, all right, I'm gonna have my second. Here we go.
Dude, honestly, you're lucky I'm here, dude, because I'm coming through like torrential rain,
No,
man. Like I had to maneuver different things. There was this one guy in your neighborhood that like his car was stopped in the middle of the road, no lights, like.
Yeah,
Dude.
there's some weird stuff that goes on around here. Just before we started, some guy was running in all black on the street, and who does that? That's so dangerous. He's just wearing all black and he's just like cruising through the street and like that's just weird to me. But yeah, no, it's been rainy as all hell. Excuse my language. It's been rainy as can be, and honestly, like I understood that you weren't gonna come in the morning because. Dude, when there's an hour and 10 minutes of extra traffic, it's like no chance. I'm not doing
No,
that.
and imagine if it like wasn't, That was just like random, like everything was stopped.
Yeah, no, that's the problem with the rain in SoCal. It's such a rarity that people just drive like absolute idiots.
Dude, for real, man.
And then the other idiots are the other guys who are just like, whoa.
Yeah, then bam.
The looky-loos, right? It's like, dude, it gets bad. Even though we have some places with 8 lanes, it still gets backed up right there on the 5. It's like, what is everybody doing? Well, we're supposed to be going in one direction. It's all bad.
Historic Mother Nature episode, Monday, January 22nd.
This is Pitchside Prospects. Welcome to the 17th episode.
17.
I question mark that. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Yeah, no, you're right. I like the number 17 like on football players. I feel like that's like one of the better attacking players in a team, and like
who's 17 that you know?
Dude, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang back in the day when he was in Dortmund.
Yeah.
That guy was a monster. I'm pretty sure Lacazette was also 17 at some point.
Maybe.
Griezmann maybe was 17.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
I wore 2 different numbers in high school that I like, which were 11 and 19. 11 because it was the position I played, so obvious reasons.
I like 11 too because of Bale.
Okay. Yeah.
Plus, that's my favorite number.
So
for me.
I enjoyed wearing the number in which you played on the field. Like that, I like that. And then there was
aesthetic over here.
Yeah, there's a point. I like that. But there was a point where I wore 19, and the only reason I liked it was because the player who wore it before me, his name was Alex McCaslin, and this dude was a freaking baller, man. Like,
so it had the blessing.
I felt like, the blessing. Okay, if I'm gonna wear Alex's jersey, I got a ball, and I did. But he was.
Oh, I love telling that to my players because my players got the varsity jerseys from last year.
Yeah.
Because varsity got some new ones this year.
Yeah, of course. And then
they were like, I was telling them like, hey, you got to be playing like this guy last year. This guy was a stud, and like got to hold him up to those heavy jerseys,
Oh, absolutely. And then I remember moving into varsity, I had to play like Darwin. The guy was. I remember Darwin was the guy. I remember.
How about your high school team? How's it going, man? First week of league, right?
Second.
Okay.
So second week of league. This actually would be the third, being the third. So we've played 3 games. We've had every game has been tight. It's been 2 losses and a tie, so unfortunately we're not doing well. But we have like a couple games up the chute that we're very confident about. We know where things went wrong and when, In the first game, we got a red card and played a man down for 60 of the minutes and still had 3 times the amount of shots as the opponents. So we battled in this one, and we'll see them again, and get another swing.
Yeah.
The best competition in our entire league, we tied 4-4. And that game was so exciting. And when I say exciting, I mean it was one of the best, young, teenage, adult games that I've been a part of in a long time. 4-4, just a bloodbath, just a shootout. And honestly,
good choice of words.
Yeah, it was both intense, aggressive, and then also offensive. Both teams were really offensive. So, just a very exciting game. I had gotten a yellow card 20 minutes into the match, and 2 minutes later, one of my players had got sent off because he wasn't wearing shin guards. And the reps and I were already like doing this thing, and he looks at me and he goes, I had the power to send you off now, right now. He's like, you sure you want to be here? And I'm like, I'm sure. And he's like, then I'm not going to hear a single word for the rest of the game. And I'm like, hands in my pockets, my mouth I put, underneath the collar of the stadium jacket, and I just sat in a little shell. And whenever I needed to address the team, I popped out. I'm like, you gotta do it. Went back, like I had cuffs on from 30 minutes, 20
you
minutes
have to behave in front of the police, if
and
not.
I wouldn't have it wouldn't have been so bad, but it was because I blew up in a certain moment where arguably should definitely not have. I had too much caffeine that day too. I had a double coffee with me, and it was almost gone before kickoff.
So let's pause there and let me ask you a question. Is that you not knowing yourself or not preparing yourself properly?
No, it's just to overshoot. I know I coach best with caffeine. Like, I have to have some caffeine with me.
But
I don't need a double and to chug it all before kickoff. And so that's where, I know for a fact I just take in more information and I give more information when I have caffeine. But when I start to go much too quickly, and that first bit of when it's like your heart rate starts to increase, you start to get into it too much, you say things that you probably were thinking, but you would have not have said without the caffeine, and now that you have it, it's like, okay, you're saying things without the filter, and you don't need to be doing that, So I would say, 1, I know myself well in that regard. 2, I went too far in that situation. And 3, that resulted in me having handcuffs 30 minutes into the match.
Dude, I feel like on a game that I recently had, I didn't have enough caffeine. I didn't have anything
No,
at
those
all.
can be bad too, because then you miss things.
Or I like being plugged in, I feel like, and that really gets you plugged in,
I did that too in a game last week with the high schoolers. It was the one we lost, or one of the ones we lost. I felt like I needed caffeine to give them the intensity and energy that they were lacking on the day. And 1, I would say on them, they were lacking energy and intensity. As a group, it was there and we know it. 2, so was I. Because I didn't have that caffeine. I wasn't each and every moment on, which keeps the tension there. And that keeps the quick twitch actions live. And so, how do you say, you live and you learn. I've been living and doing it for quite a while, so I'm learning. But still, you hit and you miss.
All right, I've got another question. This is more advanced now.
What's that?
How do you feel about zins during a game?
Zins?
Zin. You know what a zin?
No.
A zin's a nicotine pack.
Yeah, definitely not.
That gets you, dialed in the zone.
No, so don't get me wrong. The European coaches that, are at the top and they're smoking, Sarri is a good example.
Yeah.
I feel in that they've earned it, and also go on. If that's who you are and you're not going to stop it for the press or the team, realistically as the coach, there's no need for you to be, fit. You're playing the game with your mind. And so realistically, for people of that caliber, no problemo in my mind. The media has a different thought, right? You can't be smoking and Sarri's over here just on the sideline puffing a rocket while he's coaching a game. And I think and to me it's there's that guy, he's showing himself, he's a 50 plus, 60 plus year old man. He can do what he wants and still do this job at a high level. But then again, there are youth coaching, no. College coaching, no.
Not in college coaching.
No, who are you? There's still young men, and you're a role model in these young men's lives, and you're not necessarily to be showing or doing anything that's poor.
So you don't recommend players doing zins either in a game?
No chance. No.
Really?
Yeah, no. Nicotine is not going to help you perform at a better level in football.
Not get you in the zone?
No, no, sir. No
Then why did
chance.
Cruyff do it, like, in the halftime?
This is this, what, 60s and 70s? Like, this is a different time, era, and then also the science and studies were well behind. Like, there were doctors at a certain point, I think in the 50s, telling people to smoke, prescribe, this will help you for these things. Realistically, it was all propaganda, and the smoking companies paying the doctor offices to market these things so that people would buy it more. And then fast forward 50 years and we know better, I guess. But here, listen, there's like players smoke. I remember this French guy, he tried out for my college team and he showed up to the tryout like any other player. He's a goalkeeper. He laced up, went into goal, had a good 15-30 minutes, went for a first water break, sit down for the first water break. Smoke goes right past my face. And I'm like, freaking out right now because I'm like, we're on the field. And I look over and this French goalkeeper is just got his one glove off. The other glove's still on. And he's just puffing one. And I'm like, there's no, like Twilight Zone moment, like there's no chance this is happening. And I'm waiting now for the head coach on the field to turn and see what's happening. And as soon as he does, you just see the vein, boom, and Dana, what are you doing? Like, what is it? Who do you think you are? And this guy goes, I've been playing well. Like, I was standing there, I was like, I can't disagree. But that's not going to fly with it. No chance. Like, so in college, too, I feel like it's not a place, not a time for it, whether you're coach or player. Keep it away from the field if it's something you do. Yeah, and you shouldn't do it. It's one of the most, if not the most addictive substance on the planet. It's like, stay away from it. But
that's a good way. That's a good place to segue. Honestly, that was a little funny segment.
That was funny.
A little like wormhole.
Dude, that threw me off, man. When this fool, the smoke goes past your face, and you're thinking that can't be coming from here, and you look, and it's literally the dude on the bench. You're like, this is not gonna go well,
Yeah, but that's like people's culture, and I think we're going to be talking about people's cultures later on in the episode.
You could tell that this was definitely part of his culture. Like, he didn't think twice about it. It was normal for him.
Yeah, you know what they say with French breakfast is? A croissant and a cigarette.
I was waiting for this fool to say something like, I don't have to run. I'm a goalkeeper. I thought that was the next thing coming out of his mouth, but Dana didn't give him the space to say anything else. He was, and you're gone.
And I think I want to say that like context is key in a lot of these, in football especially. Different situations could lead to different opportunities and different goals. And one of the things that I've been interested about recently has been like data, and I've been checking out the manager bounce. And so this is a theory that pretty much talks about how whenever, let's say, a club is suffering like a really bad losing streak and they're not getting a lot of points, especially in the Premier League where dollars matter for people to actually stay there.
Points matter.
So this is the idea that whenever a club is suffering, they have to get a new manager so that their team could actually perform better on the match day. And now this is called the manager bounce. And there have been pretty cool studies seeing if this was like really true or not. And so I got some statistics here. So they took from all the Premier League era 159 managerial changes that didn't happen in the summer. So like actually during the season.
Yeah.
And then out of all of this data, they chose to look at the first 6 games of when they actually brought them in to see it, like if the bounce, the short-term effect, really changed. And just to like keep the answer short, like what they found is, imagine if you're like at a roulette table and you're betting on black the whole time. Well, sometimes you can hit 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 6. Sometimes you can hit 0 out of 6.
Straight up.
So the way that analysts looked at it, it was based off of all of the mean reversion, meaning that whenever you have a bad spell, you're like bound to like bounce back up to like what your average is. And one statistic that I liked was talking about how whenever a club is looking to fire somebody, it's when they average about 1 point a game. Meaning that their best thing that they can get is a tie. And think about
imagine that. You tie every one of your games, you're still going to get fired.
And think about it, like, when you get relegated, the minimum amount of points that, like, you'll be safe, I think it's, like, 42.
Yeah, there's like
The statistic?
38 games.
Yeah.
There's like a total of 38 times 3 is 118 points. And from there, it's like you're probably going to need about 45 to stay up.
Yeah, and I think in the year that one of these manager bounces happened, actually one of the best ones, he actually failed to get him back up. Or to keep him up, I mean. And it was just by 1 point that he got relegated.
So explain the stats of the bounce a little more.
So I'm going to talk about how they take the first 6 games. So they have quantified it as like this change of manager results into an average of 7 points that you can get as a club. Obviously, when I mean context is key, I mean that depending on which club you get, depending the players that are already in that club, could really make or break the success that you actually have. Meaning that if one of the best ones was Gerard Houllier, when he came back to Liverpool after like having a surgery or something, and he actually had one of the highest manager bounces with 4 wins out of 6. I think the highest was 5 wins and a tie out of 6.
Yeah, and I'm sure the lowest is
0
out of 6.
Yeah.
I don't know. So 100%, the manager bounce could be like a theory in the sense that the stats are close, whether you bounce the manager or you don't, or you stay still, or you stay with who you have. I think there's certain things you have to always consider, and I think the vibe is actually a really strong consideration in this moment. So you have to think, anytime a manager is being sacked and a new one's being brought in, usually the team isn't doing very well or not meshing well, and so the vibe and the aura
100%.
of the camp is negative. So you're coming into a negative camp. Then we have the variable you were talking about, like the pieces that you're given.
The actual talent you have on the team.
Fit the tactical style coach that you are, or even a mental and emotional style. And so then that variable makes things ever harder. Then you can't forget about the variable of the opponents who you're going to play up the chute. And if it's like a Premier League coach and team, you know the competition they're going to be playing against in the next 6 are going to be good. No matter what, you're going to have to hit the ground running.
Because the other people are actually
already
doing
running.
good, and they're already in their stride of the season. You know what's crazy about like the top leagues is that it's all of these clubs that want to beat other people fighting against each other every weekend.
Yeah.
And that is like something that's been really baffling me. It's fascinating to see like different types of strategies and different types of methods that try and see which one is better on the weekend, on the given day.
I'm an experimenter, so I even lately have been trying to change a lot more than sticking with the one. Because I like the things that I learned from the experiments of the different things that I try. But then after watching the Premier League in particular for 20 plus years, I feel like whenever a team changes their manager, they do better. Not every time, but my gut usually says when a team has lost 6, 7, they're really sinking. If the manager and the team don't groove well, it's time to change them, and you'll get better results right off the bat. Roma is a prime example of that right now, with Jose, who's been moved out in a way.
Oh, they won this weekend?
They won his first game.
Huh.
Totti, right?
Who?
Totti?
No way, Totti's a manager?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the guy.
No way.
The Roma forever.
Yeah, the legend.
Yeah, yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And his first game, the
That's like
fans,
his first like ever managerial
yeah,
game.
stepped out as a actual player. I think
No,
player
you're
to
kidding me. Really?
really.
What a story. That's
And
awesome.
and his first game, the fans were chanting things like, "Our players have no balls," and
No, Rosmia.
"Thank you forever, Mourinho," and "We'll never forget."
Yeah, they had that banner. Yeah.
Always a whatever their ultra fans are called. And Totti's standing there listening to the Mourinho chants and hearing about his players, but they won the game and they get the 3 points, and they're back on the bounce because
They are doing the bounce right now. The board was like, you know what, Mourinho, you ain't cutting it, so we're
I
gonna
mean,
see if this new fresh face.
he wasn't cutting it. He really points wise and games wise in the last 6 to 7 was tanking on him, and he was in Mourinho's style, making it a show. He had a lot of red cards in 2 seasons. He was definitely with the fans, but probably to the full extent or at the highest spectrum, to where he was making it too much about him and less about the game, you know? Whereas I think they made a good choice. They moved to a player coach who's going to relate to the players who are on the field at the moment, but also he's a legend of the club where he's always been there.
Yeah.
So he's true Roma.
And that's a
and
big
through.
plus, I feel like, especially in the very highest levels, like you actually having a relationship with the club, because then they give you the trust and the backing behind them. Let's say, for example, when I got to see Jesse Marsh, and like he was talking about his time with Leeds, you think the English people really backed him? Like,
Más o menos.
he got some of his players in the summer,
Yeah,
but like he should have probably ended the whole season because
100%.
no one else would have. I mean, they got relegated anyway.
Agreed. And also, each week I felt like that Jesse Marsh Leeds team was grabbing on to something, and they just weren't getting a good grip. I feel like if they actually left Jesse in that situation, they wouldn't have been relegated.
Going back to the mean reversion.
Yeah.
They didn't believe in like it just goes all back to the context. If you have like that vibe, and especially he had those players there for him, maybe that should have been the better option. But like you just said, maybe the Roma legend with all the Italian people that actually play in Roma, like that could probably work.
Yeah, and I also I think about this. I don't think the managers in these situations at the pro teams are too sad, because if you sign a 3-year contract and they let you go before that, they pay you out.
Well, do you know the average time that managers stay in a job?
It's probably about
Put it in months.
14 months.
It's the average is 16 months.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah.
Nice. No, that's what I mean. And the normal contract is about 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're getting paid anyway.
You get paid tons of money.
Severance
too.
To severance
goodbye.
Too. Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, when you
just have to believe in. I guess when you're at that level, you have to think that you did a good enough job and have your own identity to find another job.
I feel different too about Mourinho's position, because I know he's towards the back end of it, and I've already watched him leave football and feel really sad about it and then come back. So in a coach of his position, I'm sure the money means absolutely nothing, and it's all about
well, not anymore, but
the team, and who am I gonna have, and I think that honestly one of the clubs that you can think about the bounce really well about and has been ignoring the bounce theory lately is Manchester United. Because for the last 10 years, since Alex left, they've been literally they went through a period of time where they were cycling through coaches like candy.
Yeah.
And then they realized
and then they found Mourinho, and then who was after Mourinho?
Radcliffe? No? Was he before?
No, it was Ole.
Okay.
Remember Ole?
Yeah,
that was funny.
Guy with glasses before Mourinho?
No, that was after. That was after Ole.
Yeah, okay.
I like that guy, but then that guy saw going back to the
his name.
Ragnick.
Ragnick.
It was I think you're thinking about what Daniel Radcliffe or something like that.
Person,
yeah, the Harry Potter guy.
No, Are the Manchester United owners? What are their last
The
names?
Glazers.
Yeah, they're those guys. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
No, but yeah, this guy, I thought he was actually pretty good, but then he saw what the club was about, and you see, like, club football isn't just about the manager, but also the people above, because they actually have the final decision, not the manager.
And then they settle on Ten Hag, who, in his term, has been like some really low highs and some really low lows. But you look at his percentages, and his percentages and wins are really not that far off of Sir Alex in his tenure.
It just like seems streaky.
The difference being it's streaky, so they're not winning trophies like Alex was.
Yeah.
And also, Alex did it for like 3 or 4 times longer, which is
And
insane.
that's another thing about soccer being like only a small amount of games, quote unquote, in a season, compared to like other sports. The statistics are so like small.
Mm.
The what do you call that? That's a fancy word. Like the data set, the amount of actual games that you can get data from are so small compared to like
It's only 38 matches a year.
how many 70 basketball games or
More.
80 and then like
Football is up there too. Baseball is over 100.
baseball's like 160
Crazy.
games. Yeah.
But then you think about United, they've decided we're just going to stick with Ten Hag. Because we know that changing the coach in and out, in and out, in and out isn't going to do anything for our wins or losses.
No, and they already bought his players like Anthony 80 million, like.
And I think also they're fixing their problem, which is like you mentioned above. It's the people above, and they're now.
Yeah, they got that guy from Man City. Did you see that?
And before that they got a 25% stake ownership from another dude.
Money coming in.
And he's gonna be the guy deciding as chief executive, like players.
Isn't that Sir Ratcliffe?
See, that's what that's the dude. That's the dude. I knew he was in there. I knew he was a
he's a guy that just about 25%, yeah.
And he gets the say on players. So he works then with Ten Hag, and they decided we're running it like this. So they don't feel like they're going to gain any wins by changing the manager in and out. Arsenal is something similar, but less. We only went through 1 or 2 before we decided, all right.
You know who is really sticking to their manager?
Liverpool.
No, right now,
Pep,
the person that you're wearing, right there.
Yeah.
They're sticking to their manager even though, like.
He came out and said a pretty blanket statement. It was like, listen, I'm telling you, the locker room's behind me, and the second that it isn't,
see, but that's
I'll pack my bags.
That's what the media doesn't say. The media also says that like, oh, some players are not satisfied, and like only the president is backing Xavi at the moment.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think that
I feel like over there, the media is like in Spain.
They plant those seeds.
No, but I feel like they also like some of them know the players too.
Yeah, okay.
So like they couldn't know that information, or they have their source, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where I feel like here the media is very like for the team and public, you know?
Yeah,
it's not like against the team.
That's the passion of Spain, though. They really try to look in every nook and cranny.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I had this thought about Spain earlier, but it's gone. But Barcelona they're sticking with their man Xavi, and Xavi is a player of long term, and the team. Realistically, the team right now is to blame. It's how can you call it Xavi's issue? Solely.
Because he's not getting them to play.
Solely. It's not just the coach. In these same situations, it's not just the coach. It's the players that are playing behind the coach. I think a Barca player even came out and stated that. Was like, it's on us too. Like, we haven't been playing well. And so, like, it's always 2 sides to the coin. And also 3 sides in a sense. So it's more like, I don't know. That's a tough one. What has 3 sides?
A triangle?
No, a coin actually has 3 sides.
Yeah, sure. You mean like a cylinder?
There's the third. But, yeah, no, I think...
3 faces, bruv.
3
Remember
faces.
that? Remember that in middle school?
Oh,
How many faces does this shape?
It shows you in each... but, yeah, no, I think...
Do you want to know when the best time to sack a manager is? Like, when you'll get the most points in those 6 games?
January window.
No,
Really? I think you can come in, buy players, a few, and then hit the ground running. Although it's tough time in the season.
it's October. October's the time when you get the most points out of the manager
Bro,
bounce.
that's rare. The season just started.
It happens.
Rare.
And when
Very
it happens,
rare.
it works.
Yeah, it's very rare though. And it
And
only happens when a manager kicks off the season with like 5 losses.
and
Straight.
actually, the later it gets, the lower your points become. So like
The sooner
after
you pull the trigger, the
after
better.
February, yes, exactly. And after
So-
February, like you're really screwed. To do a
No,
manager
yeah,
bounce.
for sure. Because there's not enough time or points
And the
left,
later
and-
the later the gets, the more the
And-
pressure.
and it's colder. And it's like everything is against you at that point. Especially if like we're talking about England. The winter months in England are terrible for playing. So it makes sense, but it's just rare that a coach would be pulled out of his role that soon at the start of the league. It happens, agreed, but
Well,
it's,
because you crapped the bed, mate. And like they're not gonna see that. They're not gonna be like, oh, let's wait and see when it changes.
Yeah.
Like remember Mourinho, his third season at Chelsea, he was just so bad the second time. Where I think they were like in 10th or 12th or something like that, so bad.
yeah.
And then I think they sacked him that year though, right?
Yeah, but at the time, Abramovich, he had no quarrels with firing coaches. They probably
Mm-mm.
did the manager bounce the most
Oh yeah.
out of any club in the Premier League. Because when Roman was in charge of that club, he would just, like they were, like, it was crazy.
He was like Grim Reaper out here, man. Just
You're fired. You're fired. It was
With a scythe.
crazy. Every time I heard it, I was surprised because it was like he just got there. But they're probably part of the reason the managerial average or mean is so low in months.
maybe
They're a big part
Chelsea's
of that problem.
yeah. Well, you know, actually, know Tuchel is also one of the ones that had the best one of the better managerial bounces. I think like top 10 in the Premier League.
When he was brought to Chelsea?
Mhm.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have never got rid of him. I don't understand that to this day. It was one of those
Abramovich.
ones that just should never have been gone. Although I think because he was like a behavioral therapist and he was very kind of like calm and like, how do you say, like, saw both sides of the coin all the time and he very kind of like kept things easy.
Yeah.
Probably went really against the way that Roman was as a person and a man, but like you couldn't disagree with his success, you know? So you like,
I mean, he won in the Champions League.
I mean, and then fired him.
Isn't that great?
Say, thanks for the win, bro.
Yeah.
See ya.
And I'll just pay you. Here, take this.
So he clearly didn't like, you know, him. He clearly didn't had a problem with the way that he worked or who he was. You know, one of those things. I mean, Roman was a person like that. He just picked people up and he dropped them like they were hot.
So we were talking about Jose. What do you see him
Actually,
going international?
Jenny, when you asked me that question, I don't. It surprised me. I don't see him going into national coaching. I do think he's got another club or two underneath him before he stops coaching.
Some people say that like he's washed up in club, and
Here's what I'll say.
I kind of believe it too.
Here's what I'll say. I would really enjoy having him as the U.S. national team coach. I don't think he'd ever do that. But I would enjoy having him there because I think our players would benefit from learning from him. Period.
It'd be like
And
like an MJ moment, like in the Olympics when they went to
hate me
Paris.
if you want, but I don't like Greg nor how he's done.
I don't like any of the. I mean, Bob Bradley was kind of cool. He was decent.
He was like a player too, wasn't he?
No, he had his son. Remember?
His son, right? Okay, that's right. Yeah,
I like Bob Bradley, but I don't remember any other like U.S. men's national team coach that I like.
right. And so, like right now,
Klinsmann was
I think that's how they should start. Actually, like when we went with the Klinsmann, because I felt like we gained a lot of like German teachings through that process.
Yeah.
Um,
And they were like the champions in the world at that
wasn't his
time,
brother,
so it
like
was
the German head national coach.
no, I think, but they like coached together. What was the name?
It was
Yogi
the
Low.
long hair, but
The guy that would grab his.
Yeah, I see. But yeah, no, I would think that, let's say
Yeah,
Mourinho's
is he
got
offside?
he's got another club or two underneath him in him. If he doesn't, I do see him doing national, but I don't see him doing. I would see him going to Portugal when the job opens up.
No way.
Why not? He's Portuguese.
Because the betting odds are like in favor of him going to the U.S. Like I think it's like 20-1.
Okay, but that's what I mean. I'm saying like if he ever went to nationals, I don't see him doing the U.S. I don't think that's.
That's sad.
I would see him waiting and trying his hand in Portugal. Think about the Roma experience he just went through. Z, come here. You okay? Come here. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Sit. Sit your butt down. Yeah, but think about the Roma experience he just went through. He was highly passionate. It like had all the passion built into it. Like it's maybe not top level football, but it's up there. I would think he won something like very, very close to his heart, especially knowing he's like coming towards the end. And so that's where I would see him waiting to go into Portugal and coach in Portugal before I see him coach in the U.S. Now, again, I'll say, I would much rather have Mourinho than Greg. 100%.
Dude, they should just pay him like so much money that
It would be sick. It would be
that
sick to
like
have.
they should do like a GoFundMe. Like everyone put in $1. Or Jose Mourinho tax in your tax return.
Honestly, I feel like if you just proposed him the job, he would consider it because he doesn't have a team now. You know what I mean? And we know how he is when he doesn't have a team. He misses it. So it's clear. He goes
Like
on
anybody,
TV.
no?
Yeah, of course. I had 1 year in my last 12 that I didn't have a team. It was more like 6 months. It was when I was leaving college and coming back into LA. And boy, what a terrible 6 months that was. Like, probably the worst of my life. But that's because you don't have the structure of the team, nor the boys. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things you miss dearly when you don't have a team. Is like the camaraderie from the boys.
The lads.
There's something in that space and energy that really actually invigorates other guys. And, like, having that team where you're in a place where you're all trying to better each other really does empower everybody a part of that process. And I don't know, that's like when you leave college, you don't have a team, or you're like in his position, you don't have that group of guys to go see and it's just you. It feels like something's missing.
Yeah.
Especially when you've always been part of a group like that. It's almost like you're the lone wolf now and the pack's gone. You know, and now you got to figure out how to do it on your own.
I'm talking about the teams and like what they need, like the spark and the character that Jose would bring. Poof.
That's what he would be a great pack leader, man. I really feel that way.
And I feel like he could get the public too, even like, remember when Zlatan just went to LA and he was all over the newspaper for what he did?
Yes, sir.
Dude, I bet there's so many like new soccer fans or people that were just like, damn, I want to meet that guy.
Yes, sir.
Because he's just got some passion, some different like
brimming
sauce.
Arrogance.
Yeah, it's like an aura around
It's
him.
brimming. It's like a Dragon Ball Z aura around. Just positive arrogance.
Zlatan. You smell him
If
a
there's
block
such a
away.
thing, he has it. I'll tell you what. But you're right. I think a person like that would generate new fans. But also, like the Klinsmann thing, he would bring in new knowledge to the camp that wasn't there prior from all of his past experiences. And I think we need that now more than ever because we have a bunch of young European players playing overseas and starting to come back. So if those players have more knowledge than the coaches we're putting in front of them, it's going to be bad. It's not going to work. And so
Little note about Gio Reyna. I feel like he's losing it, man.
Yeah, I think ever since that whole thing he had with Greg and he got knocked out of the U.S. teams because his mom was, I don't know what the situation was in particular, but I haven't.
You didn't call him, dude? You didn't call Greg, be like, yo, what's going on with my boy Gio?
I didn't. But I've had
Come on,
parents
man.
call me before.
Hey, this is just a concerned fan,
I'm
Greg.
just saying. But, I don't know. It's, And then he's still at Dortmund, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I haven't heard his name coming
No.
out of Dortmund for a little bit.
Sancho's popping off over him, and Sancho was
Just arrived.
rotten, bruv.
Just got out of
rotten
jail.
in United, bruv.
Just got out of jail. He's got his 6-month jail-free card, and then he's got to go back. Because they put a no-buy on that loan, which I found so weird. Like, they're going to make Sanchez go back.
Sancho.
They're going to make Sancho go back. Which I don't get. Ten Hag's not done going, hey, no, you.
Imagine that bald guy talking to you like that.
No,
With his accent. He has a pretty funny
if he was
accent.
my coach,
to be honest.
I would have to respect him. If he was my coach,
Z respects him.
I would have to respect him. I couldn't see myself doing or behaving the way that Sancho has, but I could see a lot of my teammates doing it.
You want to know another crazy stat? Sorry.
Go for it.
Do you know that an English manager has never won the Premier League?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think clubs take that into effect and then bring in other nationalities to coach them?
Yeah, it's the same way that England never played for PKs for like 50 years because they lost every PK they ever took. So they either played to win or to lose because they knew a PK was a loss. Yeah, also if you look around, the teams in the top 10 in the top 5 leagues, the first and second, I think 6 out of 10 of those coaches are Spaniard.
Yeah.
Right now.
And then the other ones are like Italian or German.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy right now. The success Spaniard coaches are having across the world in the leagues at the current moment is insane. And so it's interesting because La Liga itself, in my opinion, is dwindling in its
I think it's
in the league.
somewhat keeping up. Obviously,
Yeah,
it's
keeping up, but it's not
because the
making
Premier
jumps.
League
You know, it's like
is always at the top.
I actually
And
would
then
say,
I think it's La Liga.
yeah, I would go Prem, La Liga, Bundes, and from there on it's
Calcio and then
Serie
whatever.
A. Serie A is right below Bundes, and yeah, I think those would be like the 4. And then Ligue 1 is terrible.
Yeah.
I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'll coach there.
I don't like me too.
if anyone needs somebody.
I didn't just say that.
Yeah.
Bring me to France. No, but honestly, in the Bundesliga, I struggle with too because of what? Anytime a team has won the league 9 times out of 10 in 10 years, I'm like.
But then you can't say that right now. You can't say that right now
We had
because
this
Xavi
argument
Alonso's
already
going crazy.
before. I know, but
No, he didn't.
okay, it's not done yet. He hasn't done it yet.
You
And
think that
Dortmund was 1 game away last year, and I feel like I cursed him.
you think that Harry Kane is gonna win the trophy?
No, I think he's gonna have it denied. Hey, dude, you've been whining this whole time.
I hope Harry Kane doesn't win a trophy. That'd be like hilarious. It'd be on par with the vibes of football.
Harry's got all his boys over in Germany, and they came all from Tottenham, and they're just gonna lose.
the Tottenham way, and then you know what's gonna
Honestly,
come out?
I am rooting for Leverkusen though. Like just
You know what's the meme that's gonna come out? The Chiellini one, where it's like, it's the history of the Tottenham.
Oh no, it's gonna be the Drake meme where it's Drake wearing a Tottenham jersey, and he's like, every time he wears a jersey, the team loses.
Oh yeah, the Drake curse.
Yeah.
You believe in that?
No.
What about the Kim Kardashian curse? How about that one?
No, although I heard of that one after she brought her kids to the Emirates.
The original game.
Yeah, but no, I don't believe in that. No. But I do think that, 1, Leverkusen has a good chance. 2, I still feel like the Bundesliga is not so great to watch because Bayern Munich has a chokehold on the league itself.
You don't like the pressing style? You don't like pressing either. So like you don't like watch it to see
I
that.
like pressing teams. I don't know if I would coach a pressing team. Like we press, of course, with a particular press to try to win it in the mid block. We don't go like raw toes on. Everybody goes. Let's slam them there. Like mainly because I usually have the weaker team in the game, lately.
But then so let's break that down.
And I want them to work with the ball.
But okay, in this sense, yes, you're right. But
So
let's say in the professional sense that we've been talking about, wouldn't you want
yeah,
to
okay.
be in a place where you can't make mistakes?
In a professional setting, like honestly, in a professional or college setting, either one is true. Whenever you're in a situation where the points matter on your job, that's true. You have to work on those situations. But I look to amplify the amount of developmental actions the players are going to experience within the game because I know that helps the youth grow faster. And I think people really sometimes they hate me or love me for it. But like I'm using the game as a tool to teach. And I always do that with kids. Like if it means funneling the opponents into the mid block so then the counterattack has to connect 2 to 3 players before it's scored rather than picking the pocket of the center back at a high press and tapping it in. That's what it means. It's also the reason you'll see me not wasting any time in youth games, like at all. Like I'll throw the ball back to the opponent, I'll try to get the game on because I want them to have more actions. More actions, more actions.
I just remember one of the best times that we had.
What, when I was coaching?
Yeah,
my assistant?
yeah,
What's
yeah.
that?
When you absolutely grilled me when I was like, "Why'd you get the ball for them?" And then they like tied the game, and I was so bitter. I was like, "It's because you gave him the ball. That's why."
Right, and so I do this to a fault, right? Is like the result you can see in my actions. The result is not a top priority, and like I'm like if the
Well,
ball.
couldn't you argue for that team?
I mean,
Quote unquote, it was.
for that team across from me, yeah, but I'm trying to.
No, I'm saying for your team. For that team.
At a certain point in the year, yes, but in these moments, no, because my brain goes to, okay, let's get more actions in the game. Okay, let's get the ball in the game. Okay, what does that moment give to each player? Do I have a moment in that play to teach? And more of that, the better. The more that happens, the more that both of us are developing and getting chances to grow. And like, also it brings me back to the fairness of the game thing. Whereas that, or not the fairness of the game, the respect the game. I have a belief that when you pay respect like karma or yin and yang, like when you do the right things to the respect of the match or the game itself pays you back in full. So sometimes the match, or a lot of the time the match doesn't itself. You actually usually take your punishment there. But you get this karmic thing that kind of builds up when you follow and respect the rules and the rules of the game. That eventually the game pays you back for those things, whether it's a job opportunity to jump the ladder or it's a new opportunity in a higher realm with a new
But it doesn't
job,
happen like in a game.
or it's not an immediate effect, not
No,
at
I
all.
didn't. No, because I was gonna say that happened against me.
It's not an
I
immediate
had
effect
I had the
whatsoever.
anti-karma bro going against me. It was pretty bad
But
personally.
yeah, I believe that. I believe also that you dig yourself that anti-karma or
No,
negative
no.
space, but you're okay because what you're getting is in the moment. And that's what you're buying. That's what you're using. That's what you all that intent goes into trying to change the moment and getting the best out of the moment. But in the long term of things, it could have the negative effect. And so, I don't know, the ball's flying out and I can catch it and we don't have to wait a minute before my team can throw it in, stop it. I want to watch them play. I also get to coach while they play. Even if it's 1-1 and there's 5 minutes left in the game, it's just like
Stupid because like Americans believe that soccer is a low-scoring game, but then football has like imaginary numbers.
no,
It doesn't make any sense.
I know, but I guess I'll give it to you like from the perspective of my little brother, who has always been a very genuine soccer fan, like loves to watch it. Could honestly name play 10 times the amount of players that I could that are playing professionally even now, and their ages and their countries, and he's got that brain. And when he loves
He plays
watching
FIFA, huh?
He did, but he doesn't anymore. But he watches. He loved to watch growing up. He doesn't watch anymore because of the time wasting and the how long it takes for VAR to come to decisions. So he would now, and I kid you not, at family holidays comes up to me talking about American football. Like, And then I ask, like, did you see the game? He's no. And now he's completely switching over because he says in his own words, I feel like watching soccer now with VAR is like watching American football with all the stops and goes, stops and goes, stops and goes. He's like, and so for me, while we watch for 5 minutes on the ref deciding if this is a foul or not a foul, and it's clearly a foul or it's not clearly a foul, it's like, I'm sitting there like, why am I still watching this? So what I think MLS is after
You're watching the replays and the highlights. That's what I like to watch.
is why they're trying to save my little brother Mason, that fan who's losing interest in football, soccer, because it's no longer a free-flowing sport that goes for 90 minutes. It's now a much more stop-and-go type of game with a lot more set pieces, a lot more fouls, and a lot more game restart moments, period. And the way that teams are using that game restart moment is manipulative towards time wasting every chance they get. So I don't commend, or I mean I do commend what MLS is doing for, or what they're trying to do, because they're trying to cut down in the time wasting and the amount of time the ball is actually rolling in the game. They're also trying to save the fans who get bored watching the stop and the go.
Isn't it funny how different cultures will like actually apply different rules to their football?
Yeah.
To bring up different generations of players or to make a different feeling of the fans.
It is interesting. I saw that like Ireland, I might be wrong, one of these weird countries was doing offsides completely different. And for a few months there, it was like you could be completely past the line as long as some of your body part was behind the line.
Yeah.
And that changed the game completely, but probably didn't work to the best. Arsene Wenger works with FIFA every year on trying to go over rules. And
I don't like his rules.
Yeah, but he tries. And so there are people within the game that are there trying to find ways to make them adapt to the game, make it better. And this is part of that process. It's trying things out to see how they work for the better or for the worse, and then moving on. What I find interesting is now that computers are a part of sports everywhere, in the decisions of sport everywhere. And that originated with cricket. Cricket had the first machine that like tested to see where that thing when they bounced it.
I thought it was baseball.
No, cricket was very, very first.
No way.
Yeah, and then cricket went to baseball. Baseball went to tennis. Tennis went to basketball. Basketball came to soccer. And we start.
And football's in there.
And
somewhere.
they all use a derivative of the original cricket VAR system, whatever it's called. I think it's, I know the name of it, it's escaping me, but it's but like all of them are derivatives of that first technology, and now we've all followed suit, but it's so different in each game. Like, you don't see in a baseball game, the VAR, the computer disrupting the match whatsoever. It's already stop and go, I know. But when the pitch is thrown, you see this little box in the corner, and it shows you how it's thrown. And that's it. It was like, oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. I got it. Like, and then it's hard to explain because 15 years ago, I'm watching the Premier League, and 45 minutes meant 45 minutes of just go, go, go. And including the severity and the intensity was much higher. You could Brexit tackle somebody. And it was normal. It was like part of this game.
I don't like that. Like, I feel like it's begun way more softer
100%.
because of the camera seeing stuff in slow motion instead of like how it actually was in real time.
I'm telling you, 15 years ago, watching the Premier League was like very like brutal games. And like now, again, my little brother would say, they're just touch me and I'm down, you know, like
the commentators always say that, like, oh, in slow motion it looks way worse than what it actually was, and it's just like a guy coming in with 2 feet studs up, and they're like, oh, that looks disgusting, but like in normal time it looks fine. Like, come on.
The fact is, 10, 15 years ago it happened 30, 40, 50 times a half. They never really stopped the game for that kind of tackle or moment, and everything flowed better. and then human error on the offsides call. But honestly, could you tell me, like, if these refs had the screen they go run over to and look at to make their decision if they get called to, if they just had a little handheld screen and they were able to turn and look at this
No,
thing,
you know how like the QB's got that thing?
boom. If I was the ref, I made a call and I went like this and I could see it again back one more time, I should be able to see not only in real time but then again on reflection and be able to make a call within a minute. Like, in putting it under a minute would still put human error into the game and then keep the flow of it.
Is that an Arson rule or is that a
No, I just came up with
Zachy
that.
J rule?
But I just came
Hey,
up with
FIFA,
that.
you heard it right there. You give him a stopwatch.
I think we played and loved football for 50, 100 plus years with the ref making a decision and us sticking to it. Oh, he's got one there. He saw this. They spoke. They got the answer. We were good with that. Now,
Yeah, but if you have the technology, why not try and have a better game?
so we went too far on that spectrum now. We were losing fans and we're breaking the game apart. So come back a bit and put one here. Have this guy, he already has it in the air. So he has the opinion of the people who have sitting down and screens all around him. Now he has his own handheld, so he might not even need the opinion of the ear if he has his own. And he can make a decision under 60 seconds.
I don't know why the people that are in the VAR room just make the decision. Why does the actual ref have to make the decision? They're the ones that have the 5, 10 TVs in front of them. They can see all the different angles at once.
I think it's because whenever the first time one of them did do that, the ref on the field said, I followed the decision of the VAR room, and then the VAR room had made a mistake on the decision, and from that point on it was decided that the center ref on the field has the final say. It was a failure thing that they fixed, you know what I mean? And that's how they adjusted in that manner.
What a stupid fail.
But that's the thing is, if we can change that fail and change it that much.
Like, stop failing, man. Do your actual
Why can't we keep
job.
looking for the solution? Like, why can't we keep changing it? And that's where I go back full circle to say I applaud what the MLS is doing. Because they're trying. They're trying to change it to see, well, what if this works? And I think it's better for the game that we do figure out a solution. Because I'm telling you, the matches 15 years ago, you could watch them. On Peacock, they do the old Premier League
rewind,
games,
right?
The rewind. And those games, I'm telling you, are all iconic matches from when I was growing up. Every time I put it on, I'm like, oh, I remember this game. And you'll see viscerally how much more intense and free-flowing the game was, simply because of the rules and the laws the ref has, and also how intense this thing. And what was accepted.
One of the very first Premier League games that I watched, I think it was like Liverpool versus Blackpool.
Oh,
I didn't know what it was, but I was just like, wow, what are those crappy names, Liverpool and Blackpool?
And
Why
there was
Liverpool?
a time Blackpool was killer.
Yeah, in like the 2000s, huh?
Early 90s. They were crazy. And there was a period in the 2000s where they had a 2-year run. But, oh, man.
And now I haven't even heard about them in a minute.
Blackburn Rovers, baby. Yeah,
That's
true.
them?
The Rovers.
That was Blackpool.
Oh, Blackpool Rovers. Blackburn. No, those are different teams. Blackburn Rovers and Blackpool.
Where are they at?
Oh, I couldn't tell you where they are in England. I know that both...
Nah, in England, I don't care about... Sorry.
Like, where?
I do care about England.
Oh, in the league standings?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Blackpool is in Championship 2.
Do you mean the second division?
I mean Championship 2, so the third division. They're not in
But
the
you
Championship.
mean the League One?
They're not in Championship. They're in the league below the
Yeah,
Championship.
they're in the third one, League
Woo!
One.
Okay.
Oh, you know who they have?
Wait. And the Rovers, Blackburn Rovers, are in 4th division.
There.
I'm guessing.
Let me see if there is a Blackburn Rovers.
There's got to be. That name is burnt into
Oh,
my brain.
yeah.
Yeah, that name is burnt in my brain.
They are in the championship, but they're sucking right now.
They're in the second league.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rovers.
Then there's another team.
You know, my favorite team that came up for a little bit was Swansea. When they came up, bro, they had a crazy team. My little brother could tell you what
Remember Michu?
nationality they were.
Remember Michu?
I remember
The Spanish striker?
I remember the name.
He was like the original,
Did he
like
play
the...
on Swansea?
Yeah, he was like the original, like the streets will never forget. Meet you.
I forget. My little brother told me by the time that they were in the Prem, their team was like 65 to 70% one nationality. I forget what nationality, but they were all like one.
Vibes.
And it was kind of like what Nuno, who's now coaching
Nottingham Forest.
He had the Portuguese thing going on at Wolves. They were like 60%.
And then Raul Jimenez,
Portuguese.
the Mexican baby.
Yeah, and you know he fit in.
Of course.
You know he fit in.
I had to look up Blackburn Rovers because there was also Bristol Rovers.
Yeah.
And
Bristol's great.
they actually got beat by Blackpool
Mm.
on my dad's birthday 2 days ago.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Happy belated birthday, Mr.
Yeah.
Kruger.
Shout out JT.
Yeah. No.
Shout out Blackpool too.
I told
for
you
the
that
dub.
name was the Blackburn Rovers was burnt in my brain. It was like from back in the day. I've been watching the Prem for 20,
so this is cool.
20 years.
Do you remember that? 4 out of 5. You know who needs a manager bounce? Nobody.
Blackburn.
Even these guys have gotten.
No, the Rovers got 2 ties and 3 losses.
Uh-oh. Speaking of.
I'm going.
Where can Blackburn Rovers find you, Zach?
Call me. 661-474.
How about your Instagram?
You can find me at ZJ Kaizen or at Train Zone Sports, both on Instagram. YouTube is Train Zone Sports. Blackburn. Send the email. And you?
And for me, it'll be JC Kruger M or at Coach JCKM. Check out the bicycle kick we scored last weekend. Or it wasn't me. It was my team.
But you said we. It was you.
Yeah. No, but it wasn't me. It
We.
was for those of you that know.
It was we. Oh, man.
And this
has been Pitside Prospects. Thank you for checking in, and we'll be back to you next week with episode 18. Hopefully with a guest, because my guest fell through.
Damn, you're a guest.